Today in Rob's Garage, we're sharing some lessons learned on installing the AIM Solo 2 data logger for your E9X BMW and taking a look at how I did for my first track day of the season with the Bimmer Challenge. Welcome back to Rob's Garage. I'm Rob. This here's the garage where we maintain, repair, and upgrade Mini Coopers, BMWs, Corvettes, Ferraris, Land Rovers, and motorcycles, mostly Japanese bikes, Yamahas and Suzukis in particular. Sometimes we'll take the Land Rover off-roading, and more often than not we take the M3 out on the track, and that's why we're here today. I want to share some lessons on how I installed this AIM Solo 2 data logger for the track car. They're really cool. It allows you to not just track your lap times, but also give you predictive lap times, show you how to improve on your laps so you can go faster. And if you connect it to your computer, which is an option, you can either just monitor it through GPS, or the option I pursued was actually connecting to your car's computer, because why? It gives you a lot more data. So I'm able to track everything, not just like RPMs and miles per hour, but also the car will tell me when to shift. It'll tell me what the temperatures are, water, oil, transmission fluid, variety of things. So it's really pretty amazing thing. Plus, it's got a wire to connect to a Smarty Cam, action cam, and then you can program it so that the camera automatically turns on once you hit a certain miles per hour or RPM or both. So I found that very beneficial as well for automatically turning on my cameras. Having said that, there's not a lot of instructions out there on how to install these, particularly in these BMWs. I searched forums, I couldn't find like the right, so I had to really research the wiring diagrams to figure out what computer wires or CAN sensor wires and what accessory power and ground wire I needed to connect to. So I did the research for you guys. Take a look. The procedure I'm going to walk you through is accurate, it works, but what you won't see in the video is what happened at the end. What happened was I went to put the wiring harness back together and one of the pins broke. So the pin is the connector that goes into the harness, and once I pulled it out and did all my soldering, I put the pin back into the harness and that pin broke. I couldn't believe it. So I thought, oh, I can just solder the thing back together. No, couldn't do it. It's amazing, these little pieces of metal that maybe cost 10, 25 cents. I don't know why, because I couldn't find them. Lesson learned was BMW has some sort of proprietary pin. I don't know. I couldn't locate them anywhere. I went to electronics stores galore. Nobody had one that looked exactly right. If anybody knows about these BMW pins, add in the comments so we can kind of share as a community, because this was new to me. I end up coming to a solution, but the lesson for me was do not try to do wiring on your BMW the day before a track day. So after you see the procedure and I'll walk you through how to install the AIM, you'll see some highlights from my first track day of the 2023 season with the Bimmer Challenge. I didn't quite do as good as I had hoped, but a lot of promise for the future, so have a look. So first, disconnect the negative on the battery using a 10mm socket. Loosen that, set it to the side. Next, you're going to use a T20 Torx bit to remove 2 screws underneath a glove box so that you can lower this kick panel and get access to the wiring. First, for the CAN sensor here. There you go. Okay, so next you're going to take a precision flathead screwdriver like this. You're going to push it up in here and kind of pry it so that it breaks this tab loose, enabling you to slide out the wiring harness like so. Once you've got the tabs pushed in, you just slide right out. Blue with red stripes here, that's in pin 1, will be your CAN high, and the red will be CAN low. Okay, they're going to be right next to each other, pins 1 and 2, and they will be wrapped around each other, as you see there. Then for your power,
This is the accessory power wire, pin 1 on this wiring harness. It's a red wire with a yellow solid stripe, and then the ground is pin 6, this brown one right there. What we're going to do is remove each of these wires from the harness here using your precision flathead screwdriver again. You're going to push in with one hand while simultaneously pulling the wire out with the other hand. So what I did with each wire is I cut off a little bit of the insulation, the plastic color, using a pair of wire cutters. Make sure you don't cut through the wire, just enough to break the plastic. And then I took a box cutter and just trimmed off the insulation until I could get to a good bare wire like you see here. And now what I'm doing is connecting each wire to the can wire that connects to the AIM Solo DL. And basically I've twisted it on. I'm going to solder it, and then I'm going to put some of this heat shrink over top, heat it up with a lighter, and we'll have a good connection. Okay, we've got all the wires connected here. The white can wire is going to the blue with the red stripe, and the blue can wire is going to the red. I'll put a little heat shrink on there, a little electrical tape on top. And then for the power, we've got the red with the yellow stripe going to the red power wire, and the brown here on pin 6, ground going to the black ground wire. It's 10:30 the night before Bimmer Challenge round 3 at Chuckwalla, and I am at the hotel, exhausted. It's been a hell of a day. I was trying to install an AIM Solo 2 data logger for the M3, and one of the pin connectors came out of the wiring harness, and I could not for the life of me find the right pin. And long story short, the whole computer started acting crazy. And so fortunately I was able to tow it from San Diego to Anaheim, where EAS, European Auto Source, they had a pin that wasn't even the right pin, but they modified it, and Nick did a hell of a job. So then I drove out here to Palm Springs and still had to bleed my brakes and change the brake pads. Here we are in Palm Springs, getting ready for a track day at Chuckwalla. This is what racing looks like, 10 o'clock at night, the day before a race. I forgot what hotel room I'm in, but yeah. Big shout out to EAS. Big shout out to Nick. Want to thank those guys big time. I would not be making it on the track tomorrow without them. And so here we go. My first track day of the 2023 season. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Caught up with some Bimmer Challenge competitors.
that rubber.
Yeah.
Had trouble getting that rubber off that wheel, huh?
Crazy.
Freaking hot. Melted.
Yep. So just won't come off that wall.
Well, that's a wrap from Robb's Garage at Chuckwalla Valley Raceway. Kind of disappointing today, 203 and some change. I was hoping for 201, but hey, we'll get them next time. See you on down the road.